Now, let's join ace broadcaster MAMODE AKUGHA as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome to the program. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, MAMODE AKUGHA. Women from the Niger Delta who continue to bear the brunt of climate change in their communities are calling for urgent action to address the global challenge and protect their environment. Sharing their experiences, the women recount similar stories of increasing erosion, declining agricultural yields, and worsening health challenges. They added that this has been worsened by the reckless activities of oil and gas companies in the region.
The history of environmental degradation in the Niger Delta is as old as the very start of commercial crude oil production in Nigeria. This is because from the moment drilling began in Otoabagi, Oloibiri in 1956, routine gas flaring, which is part of the process, and other oil-related pollution left the environment heavily polluted. Speaking with the women from different communities in the region who gathered in Port Harcourt to observe the African Women's Climate Justice Day recently, they observed that as primary providers through subsistence farming and fishing, women can face unbearable hardship occasioned by the ongoing pollution of the air, their farmlands and water sources across the region.
A normal baby birth is supposed to be 3.3, 3 or 3.5. Yeah. But we're experiencing low birth rate of 2.5. The baby is small because of the heat from the climate. After birth, you see a woman like this. If somebody is with her, you see her opening her eyes and be doing like this and be doing as if she wants to die.
This is how many will you harvest that will make a basin of garri? So food is very scarce now in my place. People are suffering because of the gas flare. It has killed our land. It's not doing well anymore. Women are suffering.
Over the years, women in the Niger Delta have played their part in the demand for accountability from both government and oil companies operating in the Niger Delta. But according to them, these efforts have not translated to better outcomes in their living conditions.
In the absence of economic power, desperation and depression leads you to violence. A lot of men abuse their wives, maybe not because they would have done so, but because there's a lot of frustration. In Eleme, the headers are either raping them, their husbands are throwing away their wives, so many things are happening.
Oil pollution is real across the Niger Delta. In many cases, there's often a blame game between the oil companies and the people over who is responsible, leading to litigation that often takes years, with the devastating impacts of spills allowed to linger, causing more havoc to the lives and livelihoods of the people. While the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021, Section 257, places liability for what is considered third-party interference, such as sabotage or vandalism, on host communities, the people are not comfortable with this, as well as the current divestment move by international oil companies, which they say leaves tons of legacy issues and pollution yet to be addressed.
We drink this water. Even to wash, you go and buy pure water. When you drink this water, you see that your stomach will telling that what you are drinking is no good. So government should come. We need government assistance.
So discussion should be linked to everyday life. And then governance, government budget, government programs can address those things. So that's why you hear, even when government will feel they have done so much, you still hear people say government has not done anything. It is because whatever government is doing is not addressing the needs.
If the leaders that we have, both at the local government, the state level, and at the national level, if they are willing to listen, then perhaps something will be done.
International companies that were here and the mess they have left, and they are now going and leaving it behind. So are they cleaning up the place? The Niger Delta developed.
In addition addition to their call for measures in addressing the plight of women in oil-bearing communities, the women also emphasized the need for inclusion in decision-making processes at every level to enable them better negotiate and advocate for issues that border on their well-being.
Inside the Niger Delta.
My Niger Delta. Me, I love my Niger Delta. Come see my Niger Delta. Back up. I say.
Mixed reactions are continuing to trail the recent unveiling of the INEC report of the Supreme Court-ordered delineation of electoral wards and polling units in the Warri Federal Constituency, with the three major ethnic groups of Ishekiri, Ijaw, and Urobo expressing divergent views on the outcome of the exercise. At a press conference held recently in Warri, stakeholders of the Urobo-speaking Agbara Warri Kingdom rejected what they described as the imposition of Ijaw names on wards created within Agbara Warri territories in the report. The stakeholders, comprising chiefs in the kingdom as well as youths and women groups, said the newly created wards in Agbara Warri Kingdom, namely Boluama, Enwe, and Ogbe-Ijaw Urban, which bear Ijaw names, amount to the creation of alien communities that do not exist within the area. They further said that the newly created GRA ward under Agbara Warri Kingdom does not reflect the Urobo identity and should be changed.
The Supreme Court judgment did not ask INEC, the French initial judgment, did not ask INEC to come and create new communities that were not existing in Warri South local government. He asked them to come and create, to delineate wards.
Where the old Niger urban ward is created for them is where the palace of the Ovie of Agbara Warri Kingdom is located, which is also with the community under the Agbara Warri Kingdom. More so, they have been banned by Supreme Court not to litigate any matter relating to land ownership in Warri South. As such, INEC cannot create community for them, as those areas are under Otowodo community in Agbara Kingdom.
The stakeholders also insisted that wards in Agbara Warri Kingdom should not be lumped together with those of other ethnic groups, but should remain strictly under Constituency 2. According to them, the proposal to merge some Urobo wards with Constituency 1, which is predominantly occupied by the Ishekiri ethnic nationality, would ultimately lead to political marginalization and suppression of the Urobo people.
Agbara Warri ward cannot be placed to vote under Warri South Constituency 1, which produce only Ishekiri House of Assembly members, thereby reducing the voting strength of the Agbara Warri people. This is totally unacceptable.
They should create homogeneous wards and constituency for the Urobos, as they did in Warri Southwest and Warri North. All the border units and wards must be constituency 1, and any security unit that is in our ward should be removed to be established to the security wards.
The people further called on INEC to suspend the implementation of the report until wider consultations are carried out among all affected stakeholders in the interest of the overall peace and development of the Warri Federal Constituency.
You cannot resolve a problem by creating another problem. Emphatically, we demand that all the wards created in our area be placed in one consequence. Suspend any proposed implementation of the report, as it amounts to imposing names or altering the recognized ownership of the Agbara Warri land to Ijaw.
Observers and watchers of political developments in the region are worried that the fresh objections raised by the Urobo-speaking Agbara Warri people are in fact introducing a new dimension to the long-standing political controversy in the area. They are now calling on the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and the federal government to urgently intervene in order to prevent the situation from degenerating into a wider ethnic and political crisis.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Agricultural experts in the Niger Delta say unsustainable oil and gas exploration activities by multinational oil companies constitute a major threat to plant health in the oil-rich region. These experts, who spoke to our correspondent, warned that failure to checkmate these harmful practices across the region will result in food shortages and other devastating environmental challenges.
According to the 2024 Agricultural Productivity Survey, APS, a national report by Nigeria's National Productivity Center, pests and diseases continue to pose a major threat to agricultural production in the country, causing average crop losses of between 35 and 45% on some farms nationwide, with about 54,000 hectares of farmland affected. The situation is even more alarming in the Niger Delta, where decades of oil pollution have either severely degraded or completely affected plants, bringing farming activities to a halt in several oil-bearing communities. Inside the Niger Delta spoke with Professor Julian Osuji of the Department of Plant Science and Biotechnology, University of Port Harcourt, and Professor Andrew Efiswe of the Department of Crop and Soil Science, also at the University of Port Harcourt, on farming in the Niger Delta.
Tampering with the Niger Delta environment affect agriculture. All these affect plant life, and once the plants are affected, they will not be in the position to do their primary jobs. The primary service to nature will be affected.
In this region, where you have oil exploration, they have a lot of contamination to the plant. Some of them contain heavy metals. These heavy metals are very, very dangerous to human head, and the plant can take it up. When the plant take it up, it's also going to human being until it will affect us.
The Niger Delta is known to have the largest mangrove ecosystem in Africa, but this natural endowment that supports both lives and livelihoods of millions in this area is gradually fading away. The Bayelsa State Oil and Gas Commission report indicates that up to 40% of the Niger Delta's vast mangrove forests have been lost. What this means is that farmers and fisher folks who rely on the ecosystem are now struggling just to put food on the table, a situation these experts say must be taken seriously.
Our human activity should be meaningful, should not endanger the environment. In the sense that, like oil spillage, that environment is already destroyed, and then those plant species that are there is already gone. Some of these plants for pharmaceutical industries and all those, some of them are already in danger.
Almost every plant is threatened, just like every living thing is threatened. Nature has made it in a way that there is a certain percentage of oxygen, certain percentage of carbon dioxide, certain percentage of nitrogen, etc. And where pollution offsets that balance, then every living thing will be affected. Much should be done, and the government should do a little more, especially in these places that are affected.
It's in recognition of this critical need that the United Nations designated 12th of May every year as the International Day of Plant Health. This is an initiative to raise awareness about how protecting plant life reduces hunger, ends poverty, protects the environment, and boosts economic development. With the increasing impacts of climate change and the unsustainable exploitation of hydrocarbon resources in the region, many say it has become important for governments, oil companies, and local communities to be deliberate in protecting the environment, strengthening climate resilience, and safeguarding the livelihoods of people across the region.
Inside the Niger Delta, AKUGHA Group, oil and gas, dredging, power and air transportation. AKUGHA Group, petroleum product sufficiency, energy sustainability and infrastructure development.
Cubana Millennium City, Asaba, a statement in luxurious living. Deltans, get ready! The final year of the first tenure of the Oborewori administration is set to deliver even more meaningful development, ensure more opportunities for all, while delivering more realistic reforms that will guarantee even more enhanced peace and security in the big heart of Nigeria, Delta State. Oh yes, phase 2 of the Oborewori More agenda is loading. Make no mistake about it, the sheriff is still in town. Right Honorable Sheriff Francis Orokwedo Oborewori, Governor for all Deltans.
My Niger Delta, me I love my Niger Delta. Come see my Niger Delta. Solidarity forever.
These young men and women who gathered under the auspices of the Niger Delta Ethnic Youth Leaders Forum staged a peaceful demonstration last Monday around the National Assembly in Abuja. The crowd, made up of youth leaders and representatives of ethnic groups across the 9 oil-producing states of the Niger Delta, was led by the forum chairman and president of the Ijaw Youth Council (IYC), Comrade Jonathan Lokbobiri. The Solidarity Walk was organized to show support for the federal government's pipeline surveillance initiative and the role played by Tantita Security Services Nigeria Limited in protecting critical oil and gas assets in the region.
And our message here is clear that the National Assembly leadership, the National Security Advisor, and the NNPC responsible to allow and help those who are already doing these jobs successfully in our region, so that the Niger Delta environment can continue to heal.
We are saying in summary that say no to decentralization. What we have now, we can only expand it and engage more communities and more youth bodies.
According to the youth, indigenous companies like Tantita are making very obvious gains in the fight against oil theft, pipeline vandalism, and illegal refining activities that have for years shortchanged Nigeria's economy and left the environment severely impacted across the Niger Delta. They noted that before the engagement of Tantita in 2022, Nigeria's crude oil production had dropped drastically to around 1 million barrels per day due to rampant crude oil theft and attacks on oil infrastructure. However, following Tantita's surveillance operations and the dismantling of hundreds of illegal connections and artisanal refining sites, oil production has now improved to an average of 1.5 million barrels per day.
These are the gains we have seen. Over 10,000 youths have been engaged by the Tantita Security Services and other PSCs. And therefore, we are standing with our people, with the voices of the youth of the Niger Delta to say, thank you, Mr. President, for engaging these security companies, but also they have impacted and improved
the economic lives and well-being of all the communities that they operate in. We have passed a vote of confidence on Tantita and other PLC because we know what our country was before their emergence, and for now they are doing well. So kudos to them. Apart from the employment, what about the peace when all of us they enjoy for Niger Delta? What about the national interest? By increasing the production alone, that one is supposed to get Tantita Kosana.
They added that beyond securing pipelines, the surveillance initiative has contributed to the transformation of many communities through corporate social responsibility, empowerment programs, and projects.
Tantita that we know is fair as far as this business is concerned. Tantita has subletted this job to people from those communities and states to handle and give them proper report.
We are just saying no to decentralization. We are not going back to Gilgal. We are moving forward and not backwards. We're only saying let there be an expansion in accommodation of interests of young people to create more employment, create more empowerment, and of course enhance more peaceful coexistence.
The youth therefore called for the continuation of the surveillance arrangement between the federal government and Tantita Security Services, insisting that the company has continued to demonstrate capacity, local understanding, and commitment to the stability and development of the Niger Delta region.
Inside the Niger Delta. Join award-winning ace broadcaster MAMODE Felix AKUGHA on Inside the Niger Delta on the following radio stations weekly. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Cause me, I love my Niger Delta. Hello, my Niger Delta. Me, I love my Niger Delta. Come see my Niger Delta. Back come, I say.
It's a no-brainer that the continued burning and over-reliance on fossil fuels play a major role in driving climate change, now evident in global warming, rising sea levels, and increased health risks as being witnessed across the world today. This reality has necessitated several global actions, most notably the Conference of Parties, COP, where world leaders meet annually to chart a collective path forward on climate action. Just as in other countries, the progress is slow in Nigeria, despite launching an energy transition plan in 2022. Experts who spoke with Inside the Niger Delta said the continuing dependence of the Nigerian government on petrodollars, despite the commodity accounting for around 90% of global carbon released into the atmosphere, is a major obstacle to its transition plan.
Nigeria has committed that by 2060, which is roughly 24 years from now, that it will transit into zero carbon economy. In other words, the balance of the total carbon it produces and what it uses will be zero. Now, that is a target, and I support their effort to do that. But I want to say that when that day comes, you will be surprised that we may shift it again.
They import the generator. They are also importing the fuel. It is not by accident that Nigeria is the highest oil-producing country in Africa, and we are unable to even have oil for local consumption because people are bringing corruption and debt as a very serious blow in this country.
The 2060 Nigerian net zero target is based on the global call to ensure that an equal amount of gases that trap heat are removed from the environment so that the world does not get hotter than it is at the moment, which is already about 1.5 degrees centigrade before the coming of industries and big machinery by the year 2050. For these experts, the widespread pollution leading to loss of lives and livelihoods across communities in the Niger Delta should push the government into accelerating the process of adopting cleaner and renewable energy alternatives.
Even in Port Harcourt, for a period of about 3-4 years, we were under the cover of a very deadly air pollution called black soot. I was part of a study that showed that people were dying from black soot, you know. And if we have that in mind, for us to get to a state of net zero, we may need to go back and establish more hydroelectric power plants, see how we can convert our abundant biomass into fuel, see how we can tap into tidal energy, and see how we can tap into solar energy.
Outlining some of the benefits of renewable energy alternatives, they also pointed out that it could be used to power thousands of communities that for years have been in darkness across the oil-rich region. This, they say, will not only drive sustainable development, but also align with Sustainable Development Goal 7, which seeks to ensure access to affordable, reliable, and clean energy for all.
We need like solar energy to be cheap, and we need it also to be in such a way that it can address issues. Because if in areas like in the riverine areas where fishing is the tradition, we need solar that can power cold rooms.
Revisit the Nigeria energy transitional plant that they were positioned is not that accurate, but they should revisit it. And let's see how we can make it a policy. How we can make some tasks and make solar accessible and affordable, and people in the local community are easily make use of it.
They further insisted that the dream of clean and renewable energy must extend beyond policy documents and political rhetoric to visible actions. Only then can the vision become a reality.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Well, that's the size of our package on the program for today. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Niger's oil-rich region, will be back same time, same station next week. Until then, you can follow us on our social media handles showing right now on your screens. And please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDNTV Nigeria for these stories and many more. Until next week, I am MAMODE AKUGHA, thanking you for tuning in. Bye for now.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDNTV Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications.